Hello, welcome back to the podcast A Life of a Woman. I'm your host, Callie Malone, and today we are exploring the luteal phase of your menstrual cycle. So, the luteal phase often gets a bad rep because it's associated with PMS, fatigue, and heightened emotions, but there's so much more that this phase has to offer. So, this is your body's inner autumn, and I love talking about our four phases in terms of seasons of the year. So, this luteal phase is your body's inner autumn, and it's a time for reflection, grounding, and preparation. So, in this episode, we're going to unpack what's really happening during the luteal phase and how you can make the most of it. We'll talk about the best exercises, food, work tasks, self care practices, and even ways to nurture your relationships during this phase. So, by the end of this episode, you'll see how to lean into the slower, introspective energy of this phase and actually thrive in this phase when people so often do not. They are just in survival mode. So, let's dive in to this episode. If you haven't already, though, do make sure that you listen to the second episode. That was all about cycle syncing. So just pause this one and go and listen to that episode if you haven't. That'll just give you the bigger perspective on how this luteal phase fits in with the rest of your phases. I also recommend listening to episode 3 and 4 before this one. Those two episodes were about the follicular phase and the ovulatory phase. So I'm just going into all of the four phases in detail. So, yeah, listen to definitely episode 2, but also episode 3 and 4 will really help with you with understanding all of your phases. But I will just summarize what I talk about in episode 2 around cycle syncing. So, cycle syncing is a trademark term by Alyssa Vitti, and it's really gaining momentum, which is awesome. But it's essentially about aligning your lifestyle and activities in your life to your menstrual cycle so that you're recognizing your body's different energy levels and needs throughout the month and that you are matching that or aligning to that. There's no more pushing yourself to do things that your body doesn't have energy for. So, for example, by following the needs and the energy of your body, you'll find that things like exercise feels easier and it's more effective because you're actually doing what your body needs at the time. You're not putting extra stress on it. So, yeah, it's really great. Highly recommend that everyone with a menstrual cycle does start aligning their life with their cycle. And I really wish it was taught in schools so that we could start doing this right at the, beginning of when we do start having menstrual cycles. But anyway, let's get into the luteal phase. So, a quick overview of the luteal phase. So, the luteal phase begins right after ovulation and lasts up until the start of your period. So, for a quote unquote typical 28-day cycle, this is roughly days 16 to 28 of your cycle if you're tracking. But keep in mind that this time does vary depending on your cycle length. So cycles can vary from 21 days to 35 days. So your luteal phase length will differ depending on the length of your cycle. Typically, though, it lasts around 10 to 14 days. But yeah, it could be shorter or longer than that depending on your cycle length. Because this phase is so long, you can often see that it has two phases or two halves as well. So the first half is a bit more energetic because you're coming out of ovulation. So the first half of the luteal phase is, starting with that high ovulatory energy and it's starting to decrease. And then the second half of the luteal phase is really where a lot of people start experiencing those PMS symptoms and really feeling the need for rest. So yeah, the luteal phase is the longest phase of the cycle. So yeah, it can be an important one to listen to become aware of because it is so long and does have such an impact on the PMS symptoms and leading into your menstrual phase. So during this phase, hormonally, your progesterone levels are rising. So this is to support a potential pregnancy, and your estrogen levels are dropping off. So these hormonal shifts can lead to some well-known symptoms. That's why luteal phase can often get the bad rep. This is when the PMS symptoms are showing. So you might experience things like bloating, mood swings, and fatigue, especially in the days leading up to your period. But this phase isn't just about surviving PMS, right? It's about leaning into your body's natural cues and taking intentional action to care for and support yourself. So, by actually making that a priority during this phase, is really going to take you from surviving in this phase to thriving. The luteal phase is your body's time for slowing down and preparing for the next cycle. So think of it as an invitation to reflect, complete projects, and create space for rest and recharging. It's your opportunity to embrace focusing on and nurturing yourself. So now that we've understood what's going to happen hormonally in your luteal phase, let's talk about how to align your life with your luteal phase. So this is what I am all about. I'm all about aligning your life with your cycle because it just makes everything so much easier. Seriously, our cycles impact on everything in our life. We need to be taking more notice of our cycles and working with them more. So, to cover this luteal phase, I'm going to be talking about exercise, food, work, self care, and relationships, and how we can align to the luteal phase. So let's start with exercise. And I always suggest aligning exercise with your cycle first. Exercise has such a big impact on our health and happiness in the short term and long term, but also exercise is usually what we have, something that we have the most control over in our life. So, for example, let's talk about exercise in the luteal phase. In this phase, your energy levels are beginning to decline. As I mentioned, you're coming from the ovulatory phase, and especially in the second half of this luteal phase, you'll find that you have those lower energy levels. So, this is the time to shift away from high intensity workouts and focus on gentler, more restorative forms of movement. So, some great options to include are Pilates or barre, because these workouts build strength without being too taxing or stressful for your body. Yoga is also a good one, going for more of those grounding flows or yin yoga to help release tension and promote relaxation. Walking's always a good one to do in every phase. So go for a brisk walk outdoors. This can help boost your mood and energy without overexerting yourself. And walking's also great for helping to relieve PMS symptoms as well. So always recommend walking in, especially in luteal phase and menstrual phase. And you can still do some strength training in the luteal phase, but it, try and do your strength training in the first half of your luteal phase, focusing more on moderate weights, not as intense as what you would have done in your earlier phases. And yeah, going for more controlled movements. Maybe you hold the weights a bit longer because they're a bit lighter, going for more of the slower movements. But the key here is listening to your body, as in all things, listen to your body. If you feel tired, just honor that. So go and you can still move your body, but maybe go for more of a stretch instead of a tough workout. We do not want to force workouts here. I am so over that. Do not do that anymore in my life, and it feels fantastic. Food. Let's talk about food now. So, nutrition is incredibly important during the luteal phase because your body is working harder to regulate hormones and prepare for menstruation, prepare for your bleeding. So, focus on foods that stabilize your blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and support your mood as well. So, prioritize in the luteal phase the complex carbohydrates, things like sweet potato, quinoa, and oats, will help maintain steady energy and reduce cravings. Magnesium rich foods, such as spinach, almonds, and dark chocolate, can ease cramps and reduce stress. Magnesium is also great for helping with sleep, getting better sleep, and yeah, not just easing cramps, but really great for muscular relaxation. Healthy fats, we also want to be including. Healthy fats are so important for women. Do not be afraid of healthy fats. Things like avocado and walnuts, salmon if you're an omnivore, and all these healthy fats can support hormone production and brain health. Fiber, so cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, because we want to be metabolizing any excess estrogen that is in our body still. And then vitamin B6. So all B vitamins are really important, but B6, which can be found in bananas, sunflower seeds, and chicken, B6 helps to combat PMS symptoms like irritability and fatigue. So, yeah, we want to be prioritizing the B vitamins and we want to be avoiding massively reducing if you can't completely cut out, but we want to really minimize excess sugar, caffeine, and processed foods because these can worsen bloating and mood swings. These can directly like affect our PMS symptoms. So, overall, for this phase, the luteal phase, you want to be focusing on warm, nourishing meals. So, thinking things like soups, stews, roasting, and baking. And because our body is doing so much in the luteal phase, eat a healthy amount of calories. So, if you are still feeling hungry, then don't be afraid to, have another bowl of soup or roast veg or whatever it is. So, yeah, don't be afraid to eat a healthy amount of calories. In the earlier phases, the follicular and ovulatory, that's where I explain that you can do things like intermittent fasting or having a few less calories. But yeah, luteal phase, you want to make sure that you're eating enough, and that will help reduce the cravings as well. If you're actually feeling satisfied in your food and nourished, you're going to have less of those cravings too. All right, going into the work activities. So, the luteal phase is perfect for tying up loose ends and focusing on detail oriented tasks. So, while the earlier phases, your follicular and ovulatory phases, they're great for brainstorming, creativity, and socializing, this phase is all about quiet, focused, detailed work. So you can prioritize if you have this ability to kind of juggle your work calendar and your work tasks. I know it can be a little tricky with work demands, but if you can choose what work tasks you do in this phase, focus on editing and refining. So whether it's a work project or even like your organization at home, this is your time to fine tune things because of your detailed brain, but also complete tasks. You can also plan and organize, so mapping out the next phase of your goals, your projects, or even coming into your next cycle. And then, yeah, do the deep work. So you'll find it easier to concentrate on analytical or problem solving tasks during this phase. So, if possible in this phase, avoid starting major new projects or scheduling high energy events. especially during the late luteal phase. Because, yeah, in the luteal phase, your energy and your focus will naturally shift inward. So, this is the time that you just kind of want to sit at your desk, shut your door if possible, and just do your do your stuff. Self-care in the luteal phase. During the luteal phase, with self-care, as I've kind of mentioned or alluded to, it's all about slowing down and nurturing your body and mind and going inwards and spending more of your energy and time with yourself. So, a few ideas of self-care in your luteal phase. So, evening wind down routines. So, incorporating warm baths with some Epsom salts because they've got the magnesium, some chamomile tea, which is great for relaxation and sleep as well, and calming essential oils like lavender, another great one for sleep. Journaling is always great. I swear I've got through the hardest times in my life from journaling. I encourage everyone to do journaling. So reflecting on what's working in your life, what you might need to let go of, what you're grateful for about, your current situation or, your current cycle. Yeah, it's kind of closing that chapter to create new and exciting space for the next chapter. Doing a digital detox, especially in the evenings, leading up to bedtime to promote better sleep. Really limit that screen time because you do need more sleep in this luteal and menstrual phase. Women's bodies are not like men's bodies. We do not need the same thing every 24 hours because we do not have the same hormones every 24 hours. So we do need some better sleep, some longer sleep in this phase, and grounding practices as well. So again, the gentle yoga that I mentioned before, you could also do some meditation, some breath work, or simply just spending time in nature to help balance your moods and reduce stress. Like I think nature is one of those amazing healing spaces that is massively underused. And it's free. And you can take the whole family out there too. So, yeah, definitely getting out into nature. So, the luteal phase is a great time to practice saying no to unnecessary commitments or things that you just don't want to do. So, protect your energy in this phase. And finally, we'll talk about aligning relationships. So, during the luteal phase, your communication style may shift. You might feel less social and more introspective, and that is completely normal. So, some great activities to do to align your relationships during this phase or to approach your relationships. So, in your romantic relationships, use this time to communicate needs and boundaries. You have increased emotional sensitivity, so that can help to foster some deeper intimacy through conversation if it's approached with compassion and love, and just space is held for feelings to be said and processed. Friendships. So yeah, go for a quieter phase with your friendships. So if you do want to catch up with people, go for more one-to-one catch-ups rather than big social events. But also if you don't want to schedule catch-ups this week, then don't. It's your goal. This is your cycle, your phase, your life. And then professional relationships. So yeah, focus on meaningful conversations, resolving conflicts if any of those have come up. Because, as I mentioned, your emotional intelligence, your emotional sensitivity is heightened. So, really just closing chapters on kind of anything negative. We don't want to take negative stuff moving forward into your next cycle or just even in life. So, yeah, use this sensitive time to smooth things over. Be gentle with yourself and with others. If you're feeling more irritable or sensitive, give yourself more alone time to process that and reflect on that. This phase invites you to slow down and connect on a deeper, more intentional level. So, whether that's connecting with yourself or others. So, yeah, that's the luteal phase. They are some great activities to do. So, just to summarize the luteal phase, a cycle syncing during this phase is about recognizing your ebbs and flows because you will have more of those in this phase. So rather than resisting these shifts, work with them by honoring your body's natural rhythm. So pay attention to what your body needs so that you can align with that, and you will find this phase is a much gentler kind of phase. Rather than forcing yourself to maintain a lifestyle that your body is just clearly not wanting, and then you've got all the PMS symptoms, all the irritability, you're snapping at people, you're eating too much chocolate. It's yeah, let's not have those phases anymore. Let's not do that. So this phase does teach you about the importance of balance. So you can still feel energized in this phase if you're listening to what your body needs in this phase. If you're balancing what you do, if you're, including that rest, prioritizing that rest, the nourishing foods. You can eat beautiful, nourishing foods that feel indulgent, but without overindulging. And shift your outward focus to inward reflection as well. So when you embrace this slower pace of the luteal phase, you're going to find it so much easier to manage those PMS symptoms and hopefully even reduce those PMS symptoms and feel more in control of your mood and energy. So that is all for today's episode. I hope you feel inspired to approach your luteal phase with care and intention and slowness, but you can still get stuff done. I was going to swear. You can still get plenty of stuff done if you go with intention and slowness. Remember that it's a time to nurture yourself, slow down, and reflect on what truly matters. So, if you are wanting to feel more balanced, nurtured, and energized throughout all phases, all the 4 phases of your cycle, then you need to join my new program, Flow and Flourish. I'm so excited I can finally talk about it with you all. So, Flow and Flourish is my 4-month program helping you to find your unique cycle flow and aligning your lifestyle with your cycle to help create a vibrant and healthy life. We start on January 6th, so you've got about a month to get signed up and get in and go check out all the resources, and that means that you get extra time in the program as well. And I am running a discount until we start on January 6th. So you can take advantage of those 2 special offers because this is the health program that you need for, I know you've set New Year goals, New Year health goals, New Year lifestyle goals. This is the program that you need because it aligns your health with your lifestyle so beautifully. So I'll post some info in the show notes below about Flow and Flourish, and I would love to have you in there in our community space. And yeah, it's just a really beautiful space for women that are sick of feeling crapola and just want to create a beautiful cycle and lifestyle as well. But if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend or leave a review. It helps so much, and I know it will help them as well. And if you want to learn more about your cycle and aligning your life to your cycle, check out my Flow and Flourish program in the show notes below, or follow me on social media for daily tips over there. But also, I've got a bunch of free resources as well. So go and download those. So thank you for tuning in to A Life of a Woman, and I'll see you next time as we continue our journey through the phases of the menstrual cycle. Just one more phase to go. So take care and honor your body's rhythm. Goodbye.